Hello there. I am going to talk about 2-year-old maidens. Specifically, I'm going to talk about 2-year-old maidens that are running at Belmont Park on Saturday, September 7, in race 5. So, we're going to look at this race. And my co host Siggy is not here today. He turned into a chocobo, as you can see on the bottom left. But that's okay. We're going to try this race without him, and we're going to see what we find. So, when you analyze 2-year-old maiden races, especially ones with first time starters, you don't want to be too crazy over speed figures because these are young horses. They could change overnight. They could get a lot worse. They could get a lot better. In most cases, they get better because they're young, but they could get a lot worse too. So there are one hit wonders out there who never run back to their big speed figure that they showed in their debut, and there are horses that look bad in their debut, but it's a learning experience. Let's see what we find here. Number one is Hemlock on the rail, and Briz actually raced this horse number one, as you can see in the Prime Power section. And that's because there's a lot of first time starters, though. I mean, if there weren't a lot of first time starters, I'm sure one of them would probably topple him for the number one spot. And the thing I don't like about this horse, Hemlock, is that he just faded for no reason. Here he was second, 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 and then he was fourth by 5 1/4 lengths. And the winner, Another Miracle, is a good horse. He went on to win a turf stakes, but I don't know. I don't like the fact that he was in good position, and instead of retaining position, he just kind of faded and lost more ground towards the end. Because these weren't fast fractions; these were 22 and 45, and 22 and 45 for a 5.5 furlong race. Even if they're even if they're 2-year-old maidens, those are not fast fractions at all. And if you're a good horse, then you should be able to handle those fractions and at least show some fight in the lane. You don't have to win, but he didn't show any life in the lane. So, unless there was a dead rail, maybe, because he was on the inside, that's my only guess as to why he faded. But otherwise, I don't like him. Prince of Caps is number two. And this one has a good pedigree. Seeking the Silver, which we're going to check right now, is a very good producer who has made a couple of notable sprinters, including Dad's Caps and Paula's Silver Lining. So those are two good sprinters that won multiple stakes races, I believe. You could correct me on that because I'm not an expert on Paula's Silver Lining, but that's a good sign for this horse. He's starting in a sprint race. He's got a good family. Awesome again is a routing sire though, so you normally associate him with 1 mile or longer races, but I don't know. Maybe the bottom side can even that out. Prince of Caps, he kind of ran like a router though in his debut. He started off sixth, and then he was sixth, and then he made a mild move, even though he was losing ground to the winner, Godzilla. He was fourth by 9 lengths, and then he was fourth by 11 lengths, and that's only because Godzilla ran a good race. But Godzilla kind of disappointed in the Hopeful Stakes a few days ago. He finished third in that race, and he also had good position in that race, and he just kind of faded in the stretch for no reason. And the only explanation I can give for Godzilla's performance in the Hopeful is that maybe he didn't like a sloppy track. So, if you want to forgive that race, and if you want to assume that Godzilla might be some kind of monster, then you have to upgrade this horse, Prince of Caps, because he was fourth, and I know he was fourth by 11 lengths, but maybe that's because Godzilla is a good horse. But I don't know. He kind of the running like kind of reminds me of a router because he started in mid pack and he just sort of made a mild move. Yeah, I know he lost ground towards the winner, but we'll say he made a mild move since he gained 2 spots, and that's normally the sign of a router. One who makes a mild move in shorter distances. They normally improve when they stretch out. So and he's not stretching out by much here, 6.5 furlongs. So I know it's a sprinter pedigree underneath with Seeking the Silver, but I'm wondering if he wants to go longer because Awesome Again is on top. That could be it. Unprecedented is number 3, and this is a son of Bayern who has done well as a sire so far. This is also an expensive horse. They paid 220K for him just last May, so only a few months ago. And he showed speed in his debut, and then he faded to 4th by 4.5 lengths. The winner, American Butterfly, did not run fast at all. And I don't think American Butterfly is a good horse. He ran, 3rd or 4th in the Hopeful? I don't remember exactly, but I don't think he's that fast. Irish Mias might be okay, but he always runs 2nd. And the 3rd place horse, Kenny Tycoon, actually had some trouble in this race. He's supposed to be a good horse, making his first start for Todd Pletcher, and he just didn't break well, and from there he didn't have position. I could forgive that start from Candy Tycoon, but what was Unprecedented's trouble? I mean, if he was first, then he was in the clear, and you can see here that he was outside in the 2 or 3 path. So what exactly was his trouble, and why did he fade to 4th? That's my question, because it looks like he just faded to 4th for no reason. Again, it's a learning experience, and not every 2-year-old is ready to run in their first career start, and they paid a lot of money for this horse, so you have to believe there's some talent there, but I'm wondering if he's just not a very fast horse. I mean, not every expensive horse is going to have talent. So let's go to Democratic Values, who is number 4, Democratic Values. And this is a Chad Brown colt, son of Honor Code. This horse cost 475K last year. So he cost 475K as a yearling, which is interesting. Now, I watched some of his workouts on XBTV, and I'm not going to play them because I'm not sure if that's against the rules, because, it's XBTV's footage, and if I play them streaming on my video here, then I don't know, then it's like I'm playing property that's not mine. I'm not really sure on that, but if you go on XBTV and you watch Democratic Values, he outworks his workmate, Brazilianaire, in both his August 25 and August 10 works. Now, I know the times are the same, that it says they worked in, well, it doesn't say the time here, but it says they worked in 101.85 in the August 10 one, but you have to watch the workout, and if you watch the workout, you're going to see that Democratic Values looks more impressive in each workout, and that Brazilianaire is being asked for, well, I'm not sure he's being asked for all he has, but he's being asked in each of those works to keep up with Democratic Values. So even though they have the same time at the end, you could reason that Democratic Values did it easier because he didn't have to be asked, or if he did, it was so subtle that I couldn't notice. But Brazilianaire had to be asked to keep up with him, and that's a good sign for Democratic Values. And we're going to look at Brazilianaire really quick, just to see if there's anything we can notice from his Equibase profile. And it says here, so he hasn't started yet. He doesn't have any races. He's only been working out. But if you look here under auction history, he costs 875K as a yearling. Now, I just said that the yearling price or whatever price doesn't always mean that the horse is a runner. A horse could cost $16 million and not show anything on the track at all. So it doesn't always mean anything, but in most cases, people pay a lot of money because they expect a quick return. Otherwise, they wouldn't pay that kind of money. Usually they see something at the sale, like a quick workout, or the horse just looks so great physically that they have to buy him. So it's a good sign at least that democratic values face a good work made in the mornings in Brazilian air. So I think democratic values is a pretty good contender in this race, even though he doesn't have any races under his belt. But it's Chad Brown. He wins 20% first time out, and he's been working well, as evidenced by his workouts on XBTV. So Democratic Values is probably one of my choices, if not my top choice. But we'll go over the other horses first. King of American, first time Lasix, but look here, he lost a maiden claimer just 2 starts ago at Saratoga, and then he finished a distant fourth in his next race, which I guess was a restricted maiden special weight. I don't know if it was a maiden special weight, but it has the R there, so, which means there's some kind of restriction on it. But I don't know exactly what that means. But he lost the maiden claimer, and that's all you need to know. He finished fifth by 4 3/4 leg. Now, I know a maiden claimer just won the Del Mar Futurity the other day. I think his name was Nucky, or I don't know, but he was horrible. And in most cases, you want to be skeptical of maiden claimers that are facing open company, especially ones that lost against maiden claimers. At least that Del Mar Futurity runner broke his maiden by 10 lengths in the maiden claimer. This one lost by 4 3/4 lengths in a 50K maiden claimer. So let's move on. Number 6 is Sagamore Mischief, and this is a son of Into Mischief, who generally does well with first time starters. And this was an expensive horse too at 290K. Timothy Hills is not a high profile trainer. I won't say he's bad though. I mean, he wins at 13%. He just doesn't have a lot of horses. He only has 70 starters this year so far. They paid a lot of money for him, so there might have been something good about him. Then again, you can see here, out of the 41 Into Mischiefs at the sale, he was the 22nd highest Into Mischief. And you can see here it says the average price for an Into Mischief at that sale was 375K. I could be reading that information wrong. I'm not an expert at using Breeze. I normally use Timeform US. But considering it's Timothy Hills and not one of the trainers that you would normally trust with a first time starter, I guess you could be a little skeptical. None of the Sycamore Mischief's workouts are on XBTV, so there's no clues there, I think. Well, let's check it out. Nope, he's not on XBTV, so I think you could be skeptical of this horse. Dylan Davis is riding. How often does he win? And finally, we end with Alpha 66. And this is the son of Liam's Map. He cost 400K last year. So he cost 400K as a yearling. And this is a Todd Pletcher trainee. And I did watch some of his workouts on XBTV. Again, I'm not going to play them because I feel like it's against the rules. But if you go on XBTV and look up Alpha 66, he ran against Freewheeler on August 11th, and he ran against Silver Ratio on July 28th. And he didn't look that impressive in either workout. He just sort of ran on even terms with both of those horses. But if you look at Freewheeler on Equibase, here we go. City Zip, Freewheeler. We're going to check out what he's done in order to evaluate Alpha 66. And you can see here he's had a race. He broke his maiden at Saratoga. And if we go up to the chart here, you can see how many legs he won by. and he won by 5 and 1/4 lengths. So that's pretty good. Freewheeler won by 5 and 1/4 lengths in his career debut. And Alpha 66 ran on even terms with him in their morning workout. It doesn't always mean anything, but in most cases, trainers pair good horses with good horses. Unless they want to use one horse as a punching bag for the other horse or a confidence builder. But in most cases, trainers pair good horses with good horses. So I think that Todd Pletcher thinks that Alpha 66 is a pretty good horse. And obviously, Freewheeler broke his maiden, so he's a pretty good horse. And you have to consider that Alpha 66 is a contender in this race. His pedigree kind of looks like maybe a miler or a router, because I know Liam's Matt maybe is fine at sprint distances, but Giant Sensation, Giant's Causeway, I don't know. It in my mind, I'm thinking router maybe, but uh, I don't know. Maybe Todd Pletcher can get him to fire first time out. So that's my analysis of this race. If I had to pick one horse on top, I think it still would be Democratic Values. I just really liked his workouts in the morning, and I like that Chad Brown is training him. I like that Javier Castellano is aboard the horse, and it says here that Dam has 2 winners from 3 starters. He costs a lot of money as a yearling. Costs 475K more than the 400K that Alpha 66 cost. And again, I'm going by auction prices, and I know I shouldn't because it doesn't always mean anything. But but uh, Democratic Values is my choice. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Alpha 66 is my second choice. It's Todd Pletcher, it's John Velasquez. You know this combination. He could fire first time out. He might run second or third, but I think he'll run a good race either way. And my third choice, I don't know what to make of Sagamore Mischief. He could be my third choice. He could be my fourth choice. He's definitely a horse you want to consider underneath. But another horse you want to consider underneath is probably, let's see. Well, a couple of horses could finish underneath. Maybe Hemlock, maybe Prince of Caps, maybe Unprecedented. I don't like them to win, but they could finish second, third, or fourth. And the only horse that I'm going to toss out is King of American. So I know it sounds like I'm picking the entire field, or 6 out of the 7 horses, but I'm really picking Democratic Values, and I'm saying that Alpha 66 is my second choice, and if Democratic Values doesn't win, then Alpha 66 should get the job done. But I'm saying there's a bunch of horses that could finish second, third, or fourth if you want to add some value in your exotics, like Hemlock, Prince of Caps, Unprecedented, and Sagamore Mischief. So that's my analysis of Belmont Race 5. Chocobo, what do you think? Anyways, Chocobo's kind of quiet, so we're gonna go. Thanks for listening, and good night.